Hello, my name is Philip Totaro. I'm the founder and CEO of market research firm IntelStor. Welcome to your weekly dose of truth to power. Truth to Power examines data driven insights for the energy sector with a focus on renewables. On this week's episode, we're concluding our look at feed-in tariffs and public finance in the Africa and Middle Eastern region from the IntelStor Future of Renewables report. Feed-in tariffs in the Africa and Middle Eastern region have been used more sparingly than any other parts of the rest of the world. Many countries are simply not sophisticated enough to have a market in which feed-in tariffs could be offered or are necessary to offer, given that a government-controlled utility company is typically the power offtaker. Nevertheless, feed-in tariffs have ranged anywhere from $70.57 per megawatt hour for hydropower all the way up to $113.21 per megawatt hour for solar PV. Over time, those feed-in tariffs have fluctuated, and some countries are phasing out any kind of additional government subsidy above and beyond a standard power offtake contract to any of the forms of renewable energy technology, and frankly, any forms of conventional power generation as well. Now, what's been interesting in the Africa and Middle Eastern region is that annual investment of public finance has seen fluctuations year on year. The two most recent reporting years indicated a total of approximately between $6.6 and $6.8 billion. This was also the typical total seen prior to 2016, when there was a global spike in funding, as well as the years preceding 2020. As we've noted before on this podcast, as well as within the Future of Renewables report, the response to COVID-19 in 2020 resulted in some funds being diverted, but funding has since rebounded. Historically, hydropower received the largest allocation on a yearly basis, ranging from 26% of all publicly allocated funds all the way up to 89% of public funding more than 20 years ago. Since 2014, solid biofuels have seen a surge in funding allocation, having previously seen between 5 and 15% of the annual funding. They now regularly see their allocation of annual funding increase from about 30% up to more than 50% in the past few reporting periods. Money that had previously gone to chemical heat and hydrogen seems to have been diverted to solid biofuels as the Africa and Middle Eastern region seeks more cost-efficient solutions, but it has not yet had the intended effect. Overall, according to OECD reporting data, Africa and Middle Eastern countries have received more than $102 billion in the past 25 years. Hydropower has led the way with about 42.3% of that total, while solid biofuels has seen a recent surge, propelling the technology to just over 28% of the total public funding seen in the past 25 years. While chemical heat and hydrogen technology saw significant investment between the years 2000 and 2015, many countries decided it was an inefficient use of capital, and they've shifted away from putting money behind that technology to putting it behind solid biofuels instead. Also interesting to note is the relatively small amount of public finance that has been leveraged to help deploy the significant amount of solar PV that you've seen in the region. While wind energy has enjoyed almost $9.7 billion in public finance since the year 2000, solar PV, which has a much higher installed capacity, has only leveraged $1.3 billion in public money. This makes solar PV the most capital efficient of all the renewable technologies in the Africa and Middle Eastern region. Just $52,000 per installed megawatt in public finance has been spent to deploy the 43 gigawatts that's been installed. Meanwhile, technologies like solid biofuels, which has received a surge of funding throughout the region recently, poor performance in capital efficiency, with almost $8.4 million per installed megawatt. This is frankly extremely concerning to see the amount of public finance that's being spent inefficiently on a technology with limited feedstocks in the region. While liquid biofuels is technically the least capital efficient at $1.68 million per installed megawatt, the pilot project of less than 1 megawatt that was installed using public funding served to demonstrate the lack of viability of the technology regionally. As a result, recent efforts to develop liquid biofuels for the purpose of power generation have been all but abandoned. The capital efficiency of geothermal is also somewhat concerning, given that the technology has seen more than 1 gigawatt of deployment in the Africa and Middle Eastern region, but still costs $1.87 million per installed megawatt of public funding to deploy after more than 15 years since money was first allocated for project development. Even hydropower appears to fall into this category of inefficient use of public finance, having received just under $1 million per installed megawatt for the past 25 years. Much of that has gone into new greenfield projects, but also the refurbishment of older facilities. By comparison, less expensive technologies, such as solar PV, have become preferred not only as a lower cost alternative, but as a mechanism to conserve water and abate drought. While public finance is meant to smooth the way for new technologies and help them achieve economies of scale, certain technologies have been overly dependent on public finance as a crutch or a means to exploit international banking through what you would have to deem as pure investigations of the potential for new technologies, or else failed projects which did not adequately leverage private finance, putting only public finance at risk during the development stage. While we're not making explicit accusations here as far as fraud or corruption go, it should be clear that in certain cases, public finance has been and continues to be leveraged in a way that is not capital efficient to wean a new technology off that public finance and towards private capital transactions to continue fostering growth of that technology within the Africa and Middle Eastern region. Thank you for joining me this week. I'm Philip Totaro, and this has been your weekly dose of truth to power. We'll have more to come from this IntelStor exclusive report, The Future of Renewables, next time on Truth to Power. In the meantime, follow us on IntelStor's YouTube channel as well as your favorite audio platforms. And visit www.intelstore.com to join more than 250,000 subscribers to our renewable energy data solutions. We're adding subscribers faster than ever, so don't miss out. Register today. A full analysis of the global renewable energy market is available to online subscribers of this new exclusive IntelStor report, The Future of Renewables. And don't forget to register today for the next Wind Summit event in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Visit www.windsummit.org and join hundreds of your industry colleagues to discuss all the latest trends in O&M. We hope to see you there.